Hi everyone, I hope this finds you well. Happy lunar eclipse in Pisces. I got my trusty little notes handy. I am going to be doing two separate videos. I'm actually just going to close my laptop so it doesn't get distracting for me. I'm going to do separate videos for just the main collective, and then I'll do one for Twin Flames and Divine Connections. Both of these videos are going to have extended options that memberships can get, or you can pay for individually, because I can do that on Patreon now. Yeah, we're going to get into it. If you're not interested in the metaphysical stuff that I'm about to go through, there is a timestamp, so you can just get right to the card reading. If you're more interested in that, because that's more about, whatever spirit wants us to know in regard to these energies, and, where you can pour your energy into, what have you. This is more informative as to where we're at collectively using human design and astrology. If you're new here, my name's Candice. I'm a psychic intuitive, and I just love knowledge. I love sharing what I learn. I don't do things conventionally, so if that bothers you, this may not be the video for you. I use a lot of my claircognizance and clairvoyance to share whatever needs to be shared at this time. Also, I'm sharing with a lot of different people, so not everything's going to resonate with you, and that's okay. You get to cherry pick. You get to pick whatever it is that you want out of this that's going to serve your path moving forward. So, the first thing we're going to start with is the moon. It begins in Pisces, but while it's in its, lunar eclipse phase, it moves into Aries. And I'm going to talk about how that affects us and our lives. So what I felt was it starts off in Pisces and it's almost like Pisces is bringing forth these illusionary energies, these things for us to kind of mull over. And then Aries brings the energy of initiation so we can move out of it. Okay, I think it's a beautiful thing, though it's deeply uncomfortable in the moment. So clearing out any false illusionary energies, clearing any emotional confusion or the fog of uncertainty. So feeling, we get foggy, a bit brain foggy when there's fear involved. And here's the really interesting thing. Our perception of ourselves, of the world, how life is going to be, is changing dramatically at this time. So if you have pathways in your mind that are tied to going about things in a certain way, it's going to be really confusing because it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't have the same foundational leverage that it used to. Seeing the unknown as an ally to possibility versus the unknown is something you need to fear because you can't prepare for it. Something very shifting in that in a good way. Aries will initiate independence of thought and action, and incorporate the courage we need to follow the illuminated path, because our path is going to start illuminating for us. And I've experienced this myself. I'm taking it one step at a time. I did some work with Alisha. If you guys aren't aware of her, she's from Cosmic Gateway. She's beautiful. I don't know. I've just never had an energy session like that in that way. And anyway, maybe I'll talk about that another time, but definitely check her out. I will link her in the description box. I'll link her channel and stuff so you guys can feel. She's got way more followers than me. So, I mean, she's probably not new to you guys, but, okay. So when we talk about the human design thing, the gates that we're going through energetically, the gates that help us expand and heal and do whatever, okay? We start out in gate 36, which is understanding emotional crisis, which always starts with some kind of turbulence. But in this case, instead of staying in the turbulent waters, we kind of accept our humanness. We go into the space of allowing ourselves to be human and have these experiences, and through that have compassion for ourselves, compassion for others. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story when I talk about, so then the moon goes into gate 25 in Pisces, and then in gate 25 in Aries, because gate 25 is shared by Pisces and Aries. It's at that cross point. This is about constriction, having constriction, and moving into the currency of universal love. So on the Pisces side of things, it'll start out with feeling constricted by things, constricted by conditions, by restrictions, by limitation. Pisces gives us the energy to long for something better, to long for some kind of dream, okay? Then it very quickly shifts into Aries, and Aries gives us the initiating action we need to incorporate universal love into our lives in some way. How that looks for you is different for everyone. It could be loving yourself more. It could be, seeking better relationships or healthier relationships, or healing the relationships in your life so that they're healthier and more sustainable. There's all kinds of ways we're going to go about that. But Pisces is going to give us the longing and the desire, and Aries is going to give us the fire to initiate on those desires. And I think we need it. I think as human beings, we sometimes need a little bit of a push, and sometimes the push is painful. Sometimes it's going to feel like you're longing for something because you're in a space of lack. But then there's this reconciliation or realization that, I can initiate this for myself. I don't know how to go about that, but it's going to come. Like, there's something that you're going to be able to feel like you can actually act on and participate in, which I think is so powerful. So the story that kind of came up when I was doing this, there was this girl I went to school with, and she was a little bit harder on the edges. There's probably stuff in her house, in her home growing up, and she was always really like sarcastic, or she could be very cutting, and I'm not judging her. That's just her inner child, right? And her wounding. So I'm not judging that. I'm just saying this is probably why she was the way she was. She graduates high school. I don't know if she went to college or university or got a job. I don't know. But she met this man, and this man loved her. And it changed everything. And I'm going to clarify where I'm going with this, but love changes everything. And I know that loving yourself is important, and we will continue to learn how to do that probably for the majority of our lives in one capacity or another, whether we're just being initiated with that or mastering it in some way. But I feel like being loved by another human being is a really beautiful thing. Offering your love to another human being is such a game changer. It just softens everything. And she became like the nicest, most friendly person. Like, she just found her place in this world. And I'm not saying go seek out somebody that's going to love you so you feel good about your life. I mean, I'm just saying we can't deny how much feeling loved by somebody else changes everything. Like, have you ever, I'll do this sometimes. I'll like hug somebody and it changes them it changes their demeanor altogether, right? That love that we seek to feel with other people is very normal. It's very human, and it's very okay. Okay, some of the little conjunctions that I kind of want to talk about are things that spoke to me. When I look at a natal chart, or when I look at a transit chart, or whatever it is, I get pointed to look at certain things and feel into them. So we have Neptune, the moon, and Priapus, the asteroid, kind of all together. They're hanging out together. So illuminating the pitfalls of established, I think it's all in the 10th house in that particular natal chart. Anyway, illuminating the pitfalls of status established by the patriarchal system. Okay. Now, I'm not going to sit here and get on about patriarchy. We all know about that. I'm not actually here for that. But I think it's important to understand that so much, and I'm going to go into this a little bit, whether you agree with this or not, this is just what comes through. The patriarchal system is both perpetuated, navigated, and created through the false light feminine or the distorted feminine from a place of lack. Most of the distorted masculine energy comes from the toxic femininity that they're born into. But here's the thing. It's illuminating for us what is truly valuable and what isn't. So we can realize that we're not actually ever in lack. We're just made to feel like we are because of the system we're in, okay? Dreaming of a better way of life from indecision, indecision versus rejection, okay? So many of you, and I'm doing this too, really just recalibrating what a better way of life is, and not from the framing of like being rejected for not being enough, or trying to make decisions about the life I want to have to avoid rejection, right? Avoid being rejected by others as if they couldn't accept our path. I mean, some of us have been pushed out onto this path, so people kind of got to accept it or not. But I think we're also heading into another mass awakening where there are going to be people who are looking at their lives and being like, what the fuck is this? This used to work for me and it doesn't now. And we just get to hold space for them, knowing that we've been there. If you've been there, okay? If you've been there, you know, but really dreaming of a better way of life without it having to be so calculating and fearing like the rejection of things, and fearing, indecision comes from fear, right? And then we have unfulfilled action and a state of preparation. So you might not feel right now like you want to take action. Okay. You might have small doses of action, but a lot of it is shifting our entire mindset about things, our entire perspective and perception about things, in order to continue dismantling so much of what we've been taught about how the world works, because the world doesn't work the way we need. It doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't. It's not sustainable. How we go about life is not sustainable in the old way. Okay. But it's not like we could just you could wipe the slate clean, but some things you can still bring with you that are in alignment with your path. So we're kind of in this space of it's all coming up, and here's what I'm going to say. No matter how much information I give you, you don't have to have it all figured out. You are going to be okay. All right. You're going to be okay. And you're certainly not alone. The amount of people that have had different conversations about what they're experiencing right now, it's all different, like aspects of their lives or different focal points, but it's all the same stuff. Like it's all the dissociation and the isolation and the feeling like, the sadness and the depression and the grief and the excitement and the hope and all of these things mixed together in one big soup. Okay. So if you're feeling any of those things, you're not alone. But this lunar eclipse is helping us break free with consciousness and clarity, which I feel for most people, having a sense of understanding brings ease. And in that ease, that's kind of where we're seeking to get to. Okay, so the pot of gold, right, which is our part of Fortune in the chart, okay, is singularly focused on expansive reconciliation. It's in the 7th house at this time. And it's in gate 9, which is singular focus for human design, seeking love in the energy. Focus on the love, not the pain. Pain and emotion can be felt and moved through, detaching from the story the pain caused, shedding to reveal love. I just had this experience where, I posted it on Instagram where I talk a lot about how I feel and how my feelings are making me feel and all these things. Like I feel like I have nothing to show for my life. I feel like such a loser. But the thing is, as I'm talking about these things, as I'm expressing these things, as I'm expressing those emotions, I'm not attaching to the stories they're telling me. I'm understanding the stories they're telling me because this is part of the conditioning that I'm carrying within myself. The things that I'm feeling and the thoughts that come with those feelings are telling me what I'm actually moving out of. And it's okay to feel how I feel because those feelings are real, and it doesn't mean it's such an interesting thing because it's like the feelings are real, but they don't stay. And you might experience the feelings in a loop. You might feel them over and over and over again until they dissipate. But that doesn't mean they're sticking around. That just means, for me, I feel like it just means carrying a lot. I'm like, how am I still carrying this stuff? How is it still? Anyways, okay. The last thing I want to point out is the right angle cross of Eden 3 is where we're at for human design. You don't have to understand any of that. I'm going to give you the message, or you can research it and come to your own conclusions. I'm totally okay with that too. But this is about creation and abundance and grace, and really moving out of the false ideations of that, the false ideations of manifestations, the false ideations of abundance, like If you're not manifesting, there's something wrong with you, as if timing has nothing to do with it, as if there isn't, you know what, there's just so much responsibility that we're dismantling with that. But the core of this energy is looking for our slice of heaven. Okay, the right angle cross serves the individual. So what your slice of heaven looks like is going to be very different than what somebody else is. But that doesn't mean you can't share, for instance, you know, whatever it is that's lighting you up, whatever it is that your soul is calling you to seek, share with that. Share from your space. You know, there's no definition with that. And I just want to be clear, because definitively speaking, there are still some people who need someone to be an authority in their life because they haven't given themselves permission to seek their own path yet. So there's no right and wrong in any of this. There's just, I think we're really coming to the space of the individual as part of the unity of the oneness that we all share. And part of that is that acceptance for our humanness, our human path, all of our fallacies, and compassion for where we're at as individuals. There will be great emotional discomfort of anything that opposes your heaven on earth. So if you're in a job, if you're in an environment, if you're in a relationship, if you're around people, if you're doing things because you think you have to, but it's causing you a lot of emotional discomfort, there's something in that for you to be like, okay, maybe this isn't what I need to be doing right now, or maybe these aren't the people I need to spend time with, and maybe this isn't the job I need to be in, with the full understanding, you know, because I know people who have been trying to get out of their jobs and they're kind of stuck in their jobs no matter how many things they've applied. Like, there's still an element of timing. This isn't about you know, being like, oh, you better do this, or you're going to miss the boat, or you better do this, or you're going to like mess everything up, or there's some responsibility for us in what we can control. And sometimes there are things that we can't control. Okay. So it's more just the understanding of these are the things that we're experiencing at this time. And for some people, they're going to be waking up to the realization that while what they used to do worked for them, it's no longer working and it's time to change. Okay. So but those of you who have known it's time to change, I do truly feel change is here. And we just need to let it unfold and unravel. Okay. So that's it for in the extended, I'm actually going to do the transit chart in the sense of like, I'm going to use the rising signs because that puts I know kind of where your houses are, and talking about where the moon is in your house during this time, and what it means specifically, what aspect of your life this moon is really helping you engage and lean into. So that extended is going to be available to my Patreons, or you can buy it as an individual video. Okay. Okay. Now let's get to the card pull. I was guided to use the Osset Egyptian Oracle cards, and they wanted me to look at, there's like 7 different card meanings for each card. They want me to pull 7 different cards for these 7 different aspects, which is like love, career, abundance, health, family, all that stuff. And then they wanted me to talk about what needs to be surrendered, or what can be surrendered if you're ready and open. And then perhaps some guidance on how to move about through this energy. So we're just going to kind of lean into it and see where this takes us. Okay. I just think there's so much. It's such an interesting thing because I feel like, so I'm just going to be transparent. I have Gemini, so my midheaven and my Venus are both in Gemini in my 10th house, okay? So they're my 10th house. They're like 2 degrees apart. They're super close. So there's never going to be a time where I only do one thing, even though there's part of me that would probably like to simplify, maybe my Virgo rising. Oops. Okay. So there's the first 2, and we'll get into these. Oh, fertility and creation. Okay. Earth spirit. I may not be able to pronounce these, so don't come at me if I don't get them right. I'm going to say Dalmatef. Anyway. And so where it used to bring me a lot of stress like, oh, like, because I really do over deliver a lot. I'm getting better at that. Where it used to bring me stress, now that I'm just kind of leaning into it and accepting the uniqueness of my path, I'm not as stressed about it. It just is. It's just how things are going to be in the moment and as I feel them. Okay, so we need 7. Ooh, so we have the Cobra, Divine Awakening. That, makes a lot of sense. Okay. Right now, okay. Ushuptis, seek assistance. Okay. 100%. Sekhmet, change and healing. I don't know if I'm sorry if I'm not showing you these. I'm going to do this because I'm going to pull additional cards with them. Ankh, healing energy. Okay. But these are different aspects. So one more card and then I'll get into the book. Oh, renewal and rebirth with that 22. Beautiful. This makes a lot of sense. And the thing is, though, I think our minds are like, oh yeah, we're going to do this and then it's going to be over. Like it's just one cycle. But I feel like we're in a consecutive cycle. So we continue to do the low frequency moving out to the high frequency embodiment. It's a constant cycle that it's not just, okay, well, the eclipse is here, it's going to bomb us, and then we're going to we're constantly cycling up. but it's so if you feel, you feel like you've had an awakening, an epiphany, and then you go low vibration or low frequency again, it's not because you did anything wrong. You didn't miss anything. You're being brought to where you need to be for whatever energetic reason, right? Okay, so we have Min, which is 21, which is our abundance, fertility, and creation. See me so proud. Okay. This is about pride in self, okay? But money will become available to you soon. Clearing some energy blockages in the base chakra will improve your flow of abundance. So I get that this is like really off the wall and not normally how I do these, but this is kind of where Spirit wants me to take these. I've given you the energetic, the metaphysical stuff. We're going to get it. So clearing out your base chakra, you can have somebody do this. You can ask your peeps to do this. You can do this yourself. You can be shown ask, do I have any blockages? The base chakra represents our ancestry, our family lines, and our financial stability. But you may have some belief systems from your family or the environment you were raised in that creates blockages for you in the belief that you're able to receive your abundance. And I want to be really careful with that because I've received sometimes when I was kind of at my lowest. So I don't think it's about your mindset. I don't think it's about intentionally or unintentionally blocking yourself. Sometimes we just carry energy that is blocking us and we don't know it. So find yourself a healing practitioner, find a way to do it for yourself. Maybe that's part of your path moving forward, learning how to move energy and clear out blockages for yourself, for people, whatever that looks like. I also will say that this lunar eclipse is probably helping us clear out energy we don't even realize we carry. Okay, but it is like, I don't know if you talk to anyone, and I know that there's been people who have been on this awakening journey for many, many years who have always felt like there's abundance coming. There's the quantum financial system. There's some kind of financial, whatever it is, windfall coming. And they've always felt it, but it's never come. But if you talk to anyone, it feels different now. Something feels different. Something has perforated. Something has come through. So just keep opening to allowing yourself to receive and whatever's for your highest light and resonance. Okay, 9. Earth Spirit. So this is with our love. This is love. Love energy, okay? Transforming organic substances into vital energy. Focus on releasing what is not needed in your life to improve a current relationship or begin a successful new one. I mean, yeah. It's so hard sometimes when it comes to love. And especially if you're in, because sometimes soulmate contracts begin feeling like soulmates, but when the contract is over, they shift into more of a low vibrational frequency of karma, like a karmic energy, an old energy. I I think we're really releasing any tethers to even the old nuances of love, like the idea of what love is supposed to be versus what it truly is. And that's going to be different for everyone. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what love is supposed to be for you. Okay. But there are some belief systems that keep us separate from love. Like if these measurements aren't met, love doesn't exist. And I think we're really dissolving all of that as a collective, as a whole, in whatever way we can understand it. And I think that that can only ever bring safety. Like that can only ever bring the safety we truly seek in being ourselves. So very interesting. Okay, 8 is work and career. This is so interesting. We've got the Cobra, which is divine awakening, which makes so much sense. I am Wajet, and I bring you news of a sudden spiritual awakening that may take you by surprise, but bring you great blessings later. Temporary work would be best. Avoid long-term work commitments if possible. Yeah, there's nothing solid right now. That's the best way I can put it. It doesn't matter if you sign contracts. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm going to give you an example. So let's say you sign a contract with a company and everything's like you're locked in and you're not meant to be there, whatever it is. There's either going to be a loophole in the contract or the company's going to fail and you're going to be free of it. Like, don't worry about doing the wrong thing. Okay, but you will have some epiphanies where you're like, maybe I don't, like, and here's where the belief systems with Pluto and Capricorn, right? It's clearing out all those old traditional belief systems that we were stuck in for so long, like through survival, right? You get a good job, you got to stay there for 40 years, you got to work on your pension, you got to have all these things. And if you don't, you're not going to survive, right? So there's going to be this part of you that's trying to convince yourself that a long-term contract is the best way to go because you're guaranteed something. But we are not guaranteed anything in this energy. We're not. And that's hard, but it doesn't mean that your needs won't be met. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to get what you desire or what you need. Like, you're still going to be and for some, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. It's going to bring out insecurities with money, but who knows how you're going to financially, like, you might be somebody that actually has a shit ton of money, but because you're in lack and scarcity and you have it's almost like, let me put it to you this way. Like, let's say there's somebody I watched a video where this girl was like, what's your zero? And she's like, my rich sister, her zero is $70,000. She's got $70,000. That's a lot of money. It is. It's a lot of money, but she might be afraid to spend it as if that means she's going to have to go without if she does, right? There's all kinds of beliefs we have about money that keep us in fear and scarcity. Same with credit stuff, same with all of this stuff. It's going to be dismantling. But I feel we're not meant to lock ourselves into anything long commitment because nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed, okay? You know what, nothing, I shouldn't say it. Nothing financially, material-wise, contractually is guaranteed. What is guaranteed is love, health, healing, connection, those things. And those things provide the right people, the right means, the right experiences to have your needs met and then some. Very much abundant, okay? I have to tell myself this too. I'm mastering this. This is not something that is like perfect or easy for me. Okay. 44. We've got destined growth. I don't know. I've seen 44 throughout this whole year. 44. And this is about travel. Seek assistance. That's so interesting. Okay. These little faience or clay figurines of the deceased developed a life of their own after they were ceremonially and magically blessed to enable them to assist the mummy they were buried with in the tomb. We speak as one, for when we were placed in the tombs, we worked together in the fields of the Duat, or afterlife, and we helped the deceased as we looked like her, and so she could rest and be safe. Oh, they're kind of like guardian angels. I kind of love that. So travel together with like-minded people. Family holidays are safe and successful. So you got some family stuff coming up. No, you'll be fine. But this to me feels very much like connecting, maybe going to certain places or traveling and really connecting with people, like your people. And not the kind of people that would have maybe gained you connections the way before, but people that really are sharing in your experience. Like, I know for me, my awakening was very abrupt and very interesting, but I had people that I could talk to that were experiencing the exact same thing as me, which just made all the difference in the world. So this, I think, is maybe even asking Source, asking God, asking for your highest light and resonance to bring people in that you can connect with and are of like-mindedness, okay? Then we have Sekhmet, which is 35. Oh, went too far. And this is about health. What do we got with health? Change and healing. The fire goddess of the daughter is the daughter of Ra. So this is interesting. Some will be wonderful, some will be hard, but all will bring positive spiritual growth. Dramatic changes, sudden healing, or a time to move upward into the spiritual realms. So there is no like unawake and awake. There really isn't. There's all different layers of ascension, all different layers of consciousness. There's understanding of spiritual modality, there's theory, there's philosophical, there's all this mental stuff, then there's embodiment, there's awareness of outside of you, but there's also awareness of what's inside of you, right? There's all kinds of different layers. So depending on where you're at, know that you're going to rise above. There's something that is going to break you free from the healing you've been in, from a place of healing to healed, and to open you up to a more, because I feel like when we're in that, it's kind of like that story with the girl who was loved by somebody. Love changes everything. It allows us to open and receive what we need and what we want in a lot of ways. So I think there's going to be in this, we've got co-creation with source and change through empowerment. So this lunar eclipse is going to be extremely healing, and it's going to push people into a more spiritual mindset, whatever that looks like, okay? We're going to see, I'm going to tell you right now, because we all go through this phase. I don't care who you are. I don't care what journey you've taken, what path. We all go through the righteous phase, the spiritual righteousness. So you're going to see a lot of people still clinging to the right and wrong, but from a spiritual place, okay? Just let them go through that. They'll figure it out, because we all do. We all have to figure out that phase, because it's like the fourth dimensional bridge, right? The right and wrong of everything is if everything doesn't coexist. So we have family, okay? So we have energy healing. Pregnancy and childbirth is indicated for you or your family, new harmony and happiness in the home, okay? So I think pregnancy and childbirth, I don't feel like this means literal. It could for some, no judgment if it does. This feels like more, because this is new harmony and happiness. This is understanding, there's so much to expand on pregnancy and childbirth moving forward into the new way we're going to go about life. This isn't about procreation for the sake of procreation. This is about procreation for the harmonious happiness expansion of the family. But this is also about birthing a new reality. Okay, I'm just going to go there. The thing with our family, right, we're born into these really dense experiences to help heal the family lines. And that's 100%. I think that's part of what we're closing out. For some people, they're going to start learning about intergenerational trauma and how that played into who they are as a human and what they're here to dissolve and break free of, okay? But there are some of you closing out this cycle and moving into a completely different phase with your family. For those who feel they are meant to have children, but they haven't had them yet, understand that this is an indicator that things are being cleared out to create a harmonious environment so that your children can be born into that, okay? Then the last, but certainly not least, we've got this beautiful 22. right? The master builder, renewal and rebirth, okay? Which is the future, looking good. Lots of miracles are already starting to manifest in your life. If you pay attention to the things that are happening, whether they can be quantified with the old way with which we determine what was a success or not, or whether it can be quantified with the old way we used to measure ourselves or not, doesn't matter. If you look at something and it brings you joy, if you look at something in your life and it brings you joy, it brings you ease, it brings you peace, it brings you happiness, it makes you feel good about yourself and your choices, it's a manifestation that is here to help and serve you. Is it the only manifestation you're going to get? Absolutely not. I think there's more to be received. Okay. Now, I'm going to do a quick surrender and then any guidance that we need moving forward. I'll do 2 surrenders because this is I'm getting pretty tired out, if I'm going to be honest, and I still have the twin flame connections and divine connections reading to do. Okay. Surrender to prayer 100%. So give yourself over completely to prayer. When you pray from your heart, you will be heard throughout the universe and answers will support you and arrive. I know that there's a lot of stuff out there creating fear and connecting to source and connecting to the universe. Just call in. I always say for my highest light and resonance, like, I don't know. I think there's too much fear. There's too much fear mongering out there. If you feel more comfortable talking to God, talk to God. Surrender your belief in scarcity. The universe is asking you to open the infinite nature of abundance. In this way, you can remove blocks in your life and succeed beyond your wildest dreams. Okay, so let me give you a little story with this. I will legit, with my soul guidance team, even my divine masculine's higher self, I'm like, can you send me money? That's it. My beliefs about my ability to receive in scarcity and the patterns I've had in the past might contradict that. But so far, it's always come through. It might be a reading, it might be random money, it may be, I don't know. I don't know where it's going to come from, but it seems to be coming through. It's obviously not a shit ton of money, but it delivers when I ask. And I just got to keep playing with that. That's just for me. That's just how I go about it. But really asking for help energetically, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think it's a beautiful thing. Okay, one more card in this lunar eclipse. This was a very interesting reading. I hope it was helpful. If it was, please like, share, comment, whatever. Divine timing. Good things come to those who wait. Here's the deal. That's true. And sometimes we don't have much of a choice but to wait. Okay. And good things will still come to you if you're impatient. Good things will still come to you. You might get more frustrated trying to make it happen when it's not, but the good things are still going to come to you because we are human. We are in service. We are in service just as we are. This isn't a reward system, but the reward is nice. The reward for incarnation. If you still believe in the reward system, I'm trying to get out of that. It feels very limited to me, but if you still believe in the reward system, know that you're going to be rewarded. Even, who knows why you're having that experience with your impatience. We just got to have compassion for ourselves. Anyways, I'm sending you all so much love, and I'd love to hear how this lunar eclipse has been for you. I know it's been up and down for a lot of different people, but yeah, take care.